Hi, Dr. Partha Nandi. Thank you for joining us today. I appreciate it. Listen, you know what? It's unbelievable that we now have a technique where you can actually think about using maggots, right? Using maggots to essentially treat diabetes. How amazing is that? So, just want to talk about diabetes and this new treatment. How you can actually treat diabetes using maggots. So it sounds, people say it sounds gross, and it's unbelievable that this could be happening. But ancient remedies, right? Ancient remedies for people who suffer from diabetes. So first of all, tell me if the sound sounds good. I got a new microphone. Let me know if you got thumbs up. You can hear me. One time we did this, and we could nobody could hear me. So I just want to make sure this microphone is, first of all, worth it, and make sure it's all good. So we tested it earlier, but I just want to make sure. But diabetes, big problem, right? I mean, we all know how big of a problem diabetes can be. But here we are talking about what we can do. So, you know, listen, you know what? We know that diabetes can devastate people's lives, and we also know that, guess what? Wound care. So when diabetics are afflicted, diabetic wound care costs, guess what? Between 10 and $15 billion a year in the U.S. And so it's just going to get worse as more and more diabetics are diagnosed and you got wound care. So let me tell you a little bit about this amazing technique, right? I mean, this is unbelievable, and there's a company that's actually out there that's doing this in a very interesting way. So, we know that maggots do what, right? They eat that dead tissue. They eat that necrotic tissue. So, the old way or the traditional way, I shouldn't say old way, traditional way to do wound care was when a wound gets, you know, infected and a wound needs to be debrided or cleaned up, that could take a long time. But instead, let's say you could use these maggots to go in and clean up that tissue. What could happen? Well, over and I believe it was in Texas, we had a patient, 59 years old, that was reported by KHOU, and they talked about a 59-year-old gentleman. He had an infection that popped up on his foot overnight. Can you imagine that? Popped up on his foot overnight. And then he learned that he was diabetic. And doctors said that they're going to have to amputate his toe and part of his foot. Now, the battle was on to save, the rest of the rancher and the farmer's foot. So what happened was Dr. Desai, who was at Houston Methodist Sugar Land, decided to try an ancient therapy in a new package. So he used maggots. And so what Dr. Desai did was he called it biodebridement or biosurgery. So the maggots use their little teeth to go through the wound and release their enzymes. And remember, maggots eat dying or necrotic tissue, exposing healthy tissue. And the company is Biomonde, Biomonde. If you want to check them out, they grow the flies, harvest the eggs, and they sterilize everything to make sure that then you package the larva. And what they do is they put it in the net so it doesn't go crazy, but they can work through the material, but they stay contained inside of this netting. So hope you're following me. So you got these maggots sitting there, and they're contained in the netting, but what they're doing is they're debriding these wounds, right? And so the bio bags, you put them like bandages, right? You put them like bandages onto the foot, and then they debride the wound. 4 days after this, can you believe that we were actually able to do a skin graft? And the financial savings, stunning. So think of the bio bags, one in $400 in just so if you did it the traditional way, $400 in just medication management and traditional therapy would have been $30,000. So if you have $400 in medication management alone, and then the traditional therapy would be upwards of $30,000. So, what happens is that the maggot therapy help the gentleman's foot? And it definitely did. And so 3 months after surgery, his foot was healed over completely from where his fifth toe was amputated and skin graft was done. So amazing. And if you want to check the video out, it's on KHOU 1011. And so the idea is, of course, this is kind of an amazing topic where you're talking about ancient therapy for a modern problem, right? A modern problem that's caused by what, right? Caused by what we're talking about every single day is that our diet, our lifestyle is what's causing these issues every single day, right? So, you want to people get grossed out about maggots, but I want to take a step back. I want to take a step back and say, okay, what is it that we're really talking about? And that's diabetes. At the end of the day, we're a nation that is having an epidemic of diabetes. So what can we do to reduce this epidemic? And to me, it's pretty simple. We have to really have a fundamental 5-step plan that I talk about all the time that you can use to really change the paradigm. And the number one thing, and we talk about this all the time, this method of putting your fork in whatever it is and putting up to your mouth is the biggest way you fight diabetes and other chronic diseases, right? So I always talk about a superfoods cookbook that we offer that you can talk about how you actually can fight diseases like diabetes, diseases like high blood pressure. And what I mean by that is when you eat simple sugars. So people think sugars are what? Just sweet stuff. But I tell you that bowl of pasta, refined sugar, that is wreaking havoc on your intestine. As a gut doctor, I will tell you that I firmly believe that the gut is the center for all inflammation, and then that leads to many, many diseases, including diabetes. So when you actually eat whole foods, foods that are not processed, foods that are not simple sugars, that is the essence of it. It also changes the microbiome in your gut. So again, it goes back to the stuff you put in that doesn't damage your intestine, but also it also helps the bacteria and all the 30 trillion bugs in your gut. And how does that translate to diabetes, you say? When you have simple sugars, refined sugars, guess what that does? Spikes your insulin. When it spikes your insulin, blood sugar goes up. It increases fat storage. It increases hormones that basically are your fight or flight hormones, like cortisol, epinephrine. These are what? Helps your diabetes, helps your pre-diabetic states. And so it's no wonder that with the diet that we have, that we're actually a nation that's having an epidemic of diabetes and pre-diabetes. And then we're talking about billions of dollars spent in debridement therapy. And absolutely, this is great innovation, American innovation, talking about how you can use maggots and ancient therapy, right, to help debride it. But let's go back and say, how can we prevent this? How can we actually not make this happen at all? And to me, it goes back to number one, what you put on your plate. Number two is what you put from your plate into your mouth. The second thing is if you are moving at all. And it doesn't mean that you just have to go and work out in some huge, lab where you have people working out, doing 500 pounds or lifting over their head or running a marathon. It's about movement with purpose. Try to incorporate movement into your life. And why is that important? When you do that, the body can do what? They can actually utilize the nutrients, including utilize the sugars, the complex carbohydrates that you eat. So I would recommend, instead of eating that pasta and the fast food, fruits and vegetables are also carbohydrates, are also carbs. And those of you who are having trouble getting off carbs, go to my snack book. I'll give you incredible recipes on the snack book that'll tell you how to get off those carb cravings. You can really have amazing snacks, not just meals, because sometimes you just want a snack. Amazing snacks that can do what? That can help you to be able to fight off the sugar cravings. So again, have complex carbohydrates that change the equation, that actually help your microbiome, help you fight off the surges in insulin, right? And then when you move, you decrease a lot of those same hormones that you're talking about. You decrease body fat, to help your insulin that's there work better. So when you are pre-diabetic, or even before that, when you move with purpose, when you actually use your body, then you're utilizing your insulin, you're utilizing all those hormones in a way that's more effective. So number 2 is your movement, right? Your movement with purpose. Number 3 is achieving purpose in your life. And why is that important? I said, Doc, I tuned in to talk about maggots, and now you're talking about purpose in my life. And I'll tell you what that means. Here's why that's important. When you have purpose in your life, that means that you're doing things that are important in your life that's purposeful. Then guess what? What happens is that the cortisol level in your body, the fight or flight, when you have purposeful activity, purposeful ideas, your cortisol and the epinephrine, all the hormones that go up, that increase your diabetes, go down when you have a purposeful life. And that purpose is the fundamental number one thing. For me, I want to see my kids and their grandkids, right? I want to see them grow up. I want to see them do better. And if that's the case, I got to do the right things to make that happen. I got purpose. So even though I am on the go, my purpose, my driven purpose, being a health hero, helping people to live more enriched lives, that decreases my cortisol, and that decreases my epinephrine, that decreases my pro-diabetic hormones, right? And so what then happens is that I am doing better in decreasing my chance of diabetes simply by having purpose in your life. So 3rd step. 4th step is what? Spirituality. I talk about spirituality because here's the reason why. Doesn't mean you have to, if you have to pray. If you want to pray, that's fine. But spirituality to me means having a higher purpose besides yourself. So again, if you are somebody who does yoga, somebody who does mindful meditation, somebody who just takes walks on the beach, anything that helps you understand about really achieving something that's bigger than yourself, right? It calms down, again, the fight or flight mechanism. It calms down those hormones that can ravage your body and increase your diabetes, increase your high blood pressure, increase all those hormones. People, from athletes to successful business entrepreneurs, all use these techniques to do what? To achieve success. But you can do something even far greater. You can be a health hero. So, I wrote a book. It's called 5 Steps to Becoming Your Own Health Hero. It's Ask Dr. Nandi. You can get it from Amazon or any book retailer. And that really outlines these steps on how you can actually achieve some of the things I'm talking about by using spirituality. And spirituality is such a fundamental thing. Remember, I talked about these 4 steps: what you put in your mouth, movement with purpose, having purpose, spirituality. Each one of these are fundamentally fantastic by themselves. But imagine when you put them all together, it is a formidable force. We can really conquer some of these incredible diseases that are really taking over our lives, including diabetes. And how do we do that? We do that by these 4 steps. And the 5th step is really critical. It's what you're doing today. You're all joining me. Why? Because you are part of a tribe. And tribes, when they come together, are powerful because they do what? Motivate. They help you to achieve goals, whether it's diabetes, whether it's any type of activity that you need to do to up-level your life, up-level your health, up-level your well-being. Spirituality, along with having a tribe, really helps. A great example I often give, is that in communities all over the world, this happens. But in America, the Rossetto Effect is really critical. The Rossetto Effect in Pennsylvania, 1950. You had a group of people, Italian immigrants, right? When the rest of the country, so many folks are literally dropping dead from heart attacks. They hardly had anybody who was less than 55 that would have a heart attack. In fact, they couldn't find people even older than that were having any chronic diseases. So people said, what gives? These people ate the same stuff as everybody else. They didn't seem to be working out, running 55 marathons or lifting 500 pounds of weight. What's critical with the Rossetto Effect was this. They had community. They cooked together. They ate together. They played together. they did everything together. They had multi-generations living together. And what that did was give them a protective effect. In our nation, in North America, what we have is a big problem. And what that is loneliness, right? We're losing our sense of community. And our sense of community is this. That sense of community, of having neighbors that help each other, people that work together. We're losing that. And human beings were engineered to be in tribes. And when we lose that, guess what happens? Your body responds with that same response of fight or flight. You have that unrest. And when you have that unrest, the hormones like cortisol, all the things I've been talking about for the last 15 minutes are increased. Diseases like diabetes, hypertension, which are epidemic, and obesity. People say, well, I don't know, doc, I'm doing everything, but I can't lose weight. Well, if you hate working out because you don't love going to the gym, or you hate whatever activity your doctor told you or your neighbor told you, then your cortisol level's already up. The same weight you want to lose, you're packing on with that cortisol, with those hormones. So very important. And so you want to be able to do the things that you enjoy so your body is in tune. You want to incorporate it into your lives. Hence, movement with purpose. Incorporate it into your own activities. I'll be part of a diabetic summit where I'm a speaker. I'll be talking about ways you can really incorporate changes in your life to really fight diabetes. I've got relatives in my family that are diabetes, and near and dear to me. This disease kills. This disease takes eyesight. This disease takes your kidneys. This disease takes your heart. This disease takes your entire body and ravages it. So please tune into the Diabetes Summit, and we'll give you a link to really register. I think it's going to be very, very useful. But the fundamental thing I'm talking about is inflammation. We've got to decrease inflammation, and your gut is really the key to all inflammation. And you've got to treat it well. You've got to look at your microbiome. And a partner that I really trust is Viome, Viome. And I'll give you a link that you can actually go and test your microbiome. You can actually find out, hey, what are the 30 trillion bacteria and other bugs in my gut? Is that going to make me be more prone to diabetes, high blood pressure, depression? Can you believe the bugs in your gut can actually make a big impact in your depression? The vast majority of the serotonin, one of the critical elements in how your brain operates, right? How it feels, important in depression, it's made, guess what? In your gut. Very, very important. So go to Viome, you can get tested. And okay, so people say, well, that's great, you got tested. Am I going to find out that I'm just screwed and that's the end of it? No. What I like about Viome is that they actually do more. They will then go and say, you know what? We will then tell you what you can eat or what things you can do in your life to improve it. So I love that. But inflammation and how you can fight it is the key. Listen, I can give you 20 more drugs you can take to really, so you can keep going to your fast food, restaurant and eat a couple more burgers and add more fries and supersize it, right? And just keep pumping that insulin. And those of you who are watching know that. Let's not have any solutions. Let's do what? Let's increase your insulin by about 10 more units. Have a good day. That'll be easy. But the real work is involved going back, right? The root cause of what's going on. Can we then do something, up-level your health, up-level your well-being, fight off these diseases in a way that your body knows how to do every day? Eat fundamental whole foods. It's so important. Simple stuff that you have to discover. That room in your house that you haven't been to in a while, it's called a kitchen, and you have to learn how to cook. You have to learn how to make the food yourself. You can't go out there in a restaurant, no matter what they say, and eat the foods because their job is to make money and not to give your health. So many of our restaurants, especially our fast food restaurants, guess what they go to? They go to the part of your brain that's called the reptilian brain, right? They go to your primitive brain where you have reward and activity that breeds more reward. So when you go there, a fast food restaurant, smells kind of good. It's not a coincidence. These are scientists that are honing in and saying, I'm going to make Partha Nandi eat that French fry, eat that burger, eat that fried chicken sandwich. I'm going to make him eat that. And so when you have that reward, it's the same reward center that you get for cocaine. Same dopamine that's released. So you have to fight that by doing what? Getting off the sugar, getting off those cravings. So if you have a sugar craving, people say, I can't do it, Doc. It's not that easy. I say, if you have a sweet tooth, why don't you get some cherries? Cherries have a low glycemic index. What does that mean, they say? Well, a low glycemic index is simply this. Makes your insulin spike a lot less, and it's a gradual increase in insulin. Why is that important? Gradual increase in your sugar. Why is that important? Because when you have the less of a spike in your insulin, less of a spike in your blood sugar, you're decreasing fat storage, you're decreasing your diabetes risk, you're decreasing your obesity risk by eating beautiful cherries. My son loves those cherries. Just as sweet as that candy bar, but doesn't go and give you that empty feeling 30 minutes after. That's the difference, right? Want to have your bowl of pasta? Do what my mother-in-law does, right? Spaghetti squash. Hey, delicious to eat, but complex carbohydrates, not simple sugars, right? So you want to be able to get substitutes to get off those simple sugars. Simple sugars are not always sweet. And what they're doing is they're going in your gut and ravaging your gut. What does ravaging mean? So it's damaging your gut, damaging your intestinal microbiome. All those little bugs that are out there, they are hating the stuff you're putting in. And they're giving you products that are damaging not only your chances of not having diabetes, damaging your heart, damaging your brain, damaging your immune system. That's the important part. I want to talk about. There's so much I can talk about, and so much I'm excited about talking to you about. But sleep is such an important part of this, right? If you don't get the right sleep, you don't repair your body. Your immune system suffers. Your endocrine system suffers. Your entire body is in a state of unrest. Again, increasing your chances of having diseases like diabetes and hypertension. Silent killer, right? When you're not getting enough sleep, you're not getting enough rest, and you're not getting the body's reparative functions. Remember, sleep is brain food. I tell my patients, sleep is brain food. If you're not getting sleep, then it's critical to make sure that you correct this. Let me just say a couple of highs here. My computer is not showing me all that, so let me see if I can find it on my phone, if I can and get some of my comments and some of my brothers and sisters. Kevin Williams, always a pleasure, my friend. He's an awesome gentleman. You should check him out. He's got his own page, and you should put that link on there, Kevin. Kevin's a great guy. He has so much information. Let me see if I can find some of the comments, because my computer is not telling me about some of these things. I've got 70 some. Let me see if I've got to mute myself so I don't hear myself, which is always wonderful. How y'all doing? Thank you for coming. Let's see. Here we go. Rosalind, good morning. Watching all the way from Philippines. I love it. Dolores Neto, thank you so much for joining us. And then let's see. Robert James Walls. That is an amazing gentleman. Robert, more power to you, my friend. Thank you. Awesome stuff here. And Robert says we were programmed to have bad food, to be bad food addicts, just like a drug addict. It's the same as drugs. Robert James Walls, super wise thing, and I'll say it again. He says we were programmed to be bad food addicts, just like a drug addict. It's the same for all drugs. Sugar is the first and most common addiction. I'll say it again. Sugar is the first and most common addiction we all have. And it's easier to be said, but what's happening is that it triggers the same response as the other drugs that you talk about, the same behavioral responses, right? So we get programmed at a young age that sugar is a way that we are rewarded. So all those parents who are watching, don't give your kids those candy bars. Don't give your kids those sweets. Don't give them those simple carbs as a reward for their behavior. Not only are they being rewarded by the people that they trust the most, which is their parents, but they're rewarded by their brain. So that's cemented in your life forever. Very hard to undo. It's a big responsibility I have as a father and as a parent to really understand that and make sure my kids get that. And then let's see, who else? Michelle Kibble. How much sleep should I get each night? Michelle, you should get 8 hours of sleep every night. 7 to 8 hours of sleep for adults Children even more, 9 hours for teenagers. They're up until 1 o'clock in the morning. Please tell your teenagers part of their performance, whatever they want to do, athletics, school. It's so important to get sleep, because if you don't, it's not going to be important. Not going to be not important, but it's not going to be effective. Here we go. Let me see if I can get more here. I can see if I can try to. Facebook is always so interesting where I cannot find all the comments, but I appreciate all of you joining us. Remember, if we have not answered your comments, one of my team will put up a link where you can get your questions answered and really be able to get the information that you need. So I will tell you also that we've got a cookbook, and those of you who joined us late, Superfoods cookbook, really amazing, that you can talk about foods that can not only taste delicious, easy recipes, but also can repair your body. That's what superfoods do. And some people say, well, I don't want big meals, I don't want anything else. It's a snack book as well that you can get, and we made this for you so you can really look at it and get the most you want from it. Let me see if I can get one more chance to see if I can get some of this. Sandra McCurdy, first time watching. Hey, thanks, Sandra. I appreciate it. Big shout out. Tell people I'd love. And for those who are watching, please share this. The more people that know about this, the more we can make an effect. We can save lives. I mean, the statistic I told you was, billions of dollars just on one part of diabetes, which is wound treatment. Let's not talk about the eye care. Let's not talk about the heart disease. Diabetes is phenomenal. And I also put a link in for my diabetes summit that I'll be a speaker on. So very important. Let's see. How do you do? So Sandra says, how do you undo this crazy train with the kids? I'm assuming that with the kids, how they're not sleeping. It's really about education. We at a young age have to let the kids know what's really going on. It's my job as a parent. The most important job I have above anything else is really to teach our kids the right way, because I want them to be productive adults so they can teach others. And the way to be productive adults is to be healthy. The way to be healthy is the most important tool you have is your fork. And Mark Hyman talks about this. The most important tool you have to fight disease is the fork, not your prescription bottle. Now listen, I'm a practicing medical physician. I prescribe drugs all the time, but it's not the only way or the first way you should use to fight drugs. I'll say that again. It's important to know. Very important. Let's see if I can find more comments. It's always hiding here. And let's see if I can find it on my computer. Frank Murphy, thank you for joining us. Teresita, thanks. Teresita Pagliwan. Hi, thanks for sharing important things we should know about eating habits that should be avoided and how to take care of your health. Thank you. You're awesome, Teresita. I appreciate that. I appreciate it. And then Ballers. That's right. Robert James Walls. You check him out. Robert James Walls. He is a true baller. Jerry Bailey. Oh my gosh. How you doing, buddy? Jerry Bailey is an amazing, amazing practitioner. You should check him out as well. He says cortisol, major cause of inflammation, glucose issues, and disease. You're absolutely right. Let me put a big like. Jerry's awesome. Arthi Kushal, and she says yes to spirituality. I can't say this enough. We concentrate so much, right? So much on this, just exercising without purpose, going out there and running these marathons and doing all these crazy things. It's really critical to understand spirituality is so important, and we're losing that. And that's why we have a crisis of loneliness, a crisis of lack of understanding what to do. We have an epidemic of depression, epidemic of suicide. I mean, as we've spoken, right, today, at least 29 people have successfully committed suicide. That is an enormous problem that we can't talk about today in more detail, but spirituality is one answer. Elaine Groman, awesome. One of my best friends in the planet for spirituality. Elaine says, thank you for including spirituality when we understand, Elaine writes, how to care for the spirit that we are as we are living in our physical body, then we will be so much more mindful of the choices we make, from what we eat to what we think to what we do. She's absolutely right. And so when you are spiritual, when you understand why you do something, then you can make the right choices. Simply put, it just becomes automatic. It's something that exudes out of you. Elaine, thank you so much. Check out Elaine Groman, a world leader in spirituality. And awesome stuff. Robert writes down, Robert James Wallace, 5 Steps to Become Your Own Health Hero. He loves the book. He's already read it. So awesome. Thank you. Thank you again, Robert. Let's see. Let me take a look. Let me see if I can get some more comments in there. If I can. My computer's always a little bit slow. Sorry about that. Jackie Walushki's sharing. Thank you, Jackie. All of you, please share this so other people can get the information. And remember, it lives on Facebook, and so it's always there. Michelle Cable says, "Is sleeping with the TV on okay?" I would not. This is such an important question because we people, have always said that back in the day it was the Tonight Show, Johnny Carson. You go to bed with Johnny Carson. What we now know is that you should turn off all electronics, including your television, at least 1 hour before going to sleep, because it messes with your whole rhythm for sleep. And also, you should go to sleep at the same time every day. This is one of the biggest challenges I have to get the sleep that I need, because it is so critical for your well-being. Amazing. Elizabeth Mary, thank you so much for joining us. She writes, "Thank you, Dr. Nandi. Another excellent health broadcast." Thank you, Elizabeth. Please share it with others so they can also be part of this and also to know, what's going on. Patty Broombaugh says, "Is it bad to have 10 hours a night of sleep?" Very important question. If you're a baby or a child, it's fine. As an adult, you don't want to have too much sleep either. I think 10 is getting there. You want to be borderline. You want to be, I think, 7, 8 hours ideal. When you're getting to 10 every night, you may want to cut back 1 hour if you can, because you don't want to get excess sleep either. You want to try to get that. Now, if you need to, everybody's a little different. But I would say for children, babies, 10 is good. But adults, I'd probably try to aim for more like 7 to 8 hours. Only a quarter of Americans get that, Patty. So, we're not talking about a lot of people that get even 7 to 8 hours, let alone 10. Dolores Neto, everyone should, thank you so much, Dolores. Everyone should watch this broadcast. I appreciate you saying that. That means a lot. We work hard on this, and please share it, Dolores, with people so that they can also get that information. It's not always the pills. It's always just increasing the dose of insulin, as you may always get, from your practitioner. So go, just keep on pumping the insulin, and then that's all you need to do, and that solves the number. That solves your blood glucose number, but it doesn't tell you what's the war that's being ravaged inside your body. And I mean a war. I mean, your body is it's going through absolute hell. And so you can't just, you can't just talk about your one number, which is your blood glucose. I think, again, I don't disagree, your blood glucose should be low. But let's do it with eating the right foods, moving the right way, having the right spirituality, using your tribe, having purposeful lives, not just wandering aimlessly, right, through life. So very important. Thank you, Elizabeth Mary, for sharing this. And I hope I'm not mispronouncing this. I apologize. Ifrah Ismail Abdullahi, my son, he is not focusing. What should he do? He's only 10. There's a lot of reasons why your son is not focusing on, but the main thing you want to do, Ifrah Ismail, is that you want to make sure they're getting the appropriate foods, whole foods. There's so many foods that are packaged, right? Listen, you get these things that are, they're full of nutrients, colorful packages, but they're plain and simple processed sugars going into your son's body. So what I want to do is, I would like to challenge you to change his entire paradigm of what he eats. Give him fruits and vegetables. We started with our kids very young, and my son loves broccoli. My older son, Partha. My younger son, he loves different fruits. He loves apples. He loves quinoa. So, but you introduce those foods at a young age. That's all they know. They don't know that. I mean, listen, they're gonna have some chips sometimes. Sure, of course you will. But that's not the majority. That's a minority, and they know it's not healthy. So they know they do it only a minority of the time. So, Robert James says, "I love superfoods and avocado." Jackie, what is it? Avo, aka Jackie, made a couple of pages spreading awareness. Oh, thank you so much. I appreciate it. He's talking about the Superfoods Cookbook. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. Elizabeth Mary says, "One of my children now now an adult is a type 1 diabetic diagnosed at age 11. It's an epidemic Elizabeth, and that's why I'm so passionate about diabetes. It's affected my family. It's affecting millions around the world. As the amazing Western diet it becomes pervasive, as we have more chicken places than your local places around the planet, you're gonna have more and more of these diabetes because you get your chicken fried up in this nice batter. What is that? That's a processed food. That's a processed refined sugar, and that is killing people in these countries. I mean, it's filling your belly, but it's making you get a false sense of security. You have to understand that. So important. I'm sorry that your child is now a type 1 diabetic, and please tell them about the superfoods cookbook and the snack foods cookbook and the diabetic summit that we're really not hosting, but we're part of and speaking. It will really be important. So let's see. Safira Centauri, thank you for joining us. She says, thanks, Dr. Nandi. You touched on spiritual and community aspects of health. The Maori in New Zealand promote a 4-pillar health model called Te Ware Tapawa, the House of 4 Pillars. The 4 cornerstones is physical health, spiritual health, family health, and mental health. It is awesome. Now, this is the New Zealand Ministry of Health. Oh, that's amazing. And she has the link here for those of you who are on Facebook. Just look up Safira Centauri, Centauri. She put a comment with the New Zealand Ministry of Health, and it's strikingly similar to what we're talking about. Thank you so much, Safira. Please share that. Share that all your followers so they know what's going on. Christina Imhoff, good morning. That's right. I'm in the great state of Michigan where it's early evening, but I'm sure it's morning somewhere. There's a song, right, that it's 5 o'clock somewhere. So Christine, appreciate it, and she agrees with what we're saying. So thank you so much. Rose Lim, still, make a replay. Of course, thank you so much. Angel Diamond, thank you so much for joining us. Says our messages are vital, so I appreciate it. So I will be signing off soon. So I'll tell you, thank you again for all of you who watched our show. If we didn't answer your question, somebody from our team will put up a link that you can get your questions answered. It'll be fantastic, So really would love for you to be able to get that and be able to answer your questions live. Again, thank you for taking the time. I know lots going on in your lives, so we appreciate the time you're taking to join us, and we'll be back again very soon on Facebook Live. And remember this: if you didn't catch all of this broadcast, it'll live on, so you can always replay it. And again, share it with people you love. Thanks so much. I will be seeing you very soon. Remember, make healthy living a part of every day. Namaste. Talk to you soon.